We're now live. Hey everybody, how's it going?
Part 2 of the influencer series.
Check in, make sure and put a comment on there. We're excited. We got so much good feedback yesterday. And what are we going to talk about today?
It wasn't yesterday.
Oh, it wasn't yesterday. 2 days ago. This week
2
is
days
like...
ago.
Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today?
It's titled, How Do I Start?
How do I start?
The big question, how do I start?
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you guys for all your feedback from the last live. We read all your comments and all your DMs, and a lot of them like made me really like, wow, it's touching.
Yeah.
That you guys would feel so, you know, passionate about living modestly in today's world. So it was really touching, and I appreciate all your guys' comments and everybody that joined and entered into that giveaway. So we're excited.
There were some super good ones, and definitely some ones that I was not expecting, like, but in a good way, where people were just like, "Whoa, this is inspiring! You guys, amazing!" You know, and just kind of a cool vibe, you know, coming from that. So
just before we get started, if there's any questions that you guys have, you can kind of start writing them now as they come to your mind, or you can always wait until the end to ask us any questions that you have.
And if you want to DM them, we're gonna try and check on this guy here while we're going here. So we're getting advanced as we go in these live videos.
So we don't want to take like a whole lot of time. So we're gonna get started. We don't have Holden here today. He's actually feeling better, and he's at school, so we won't have like a little interruption like we did last time.
We do have Badgley though, so if you see a little dog, it's not a ghost. It's just it's our Yorkie poo. So let's go ahead and start out. So how do I start? That's kind of like the looming question over this. I mean, there's a lot of people that are already kind of getting going on it, but there's a lot of people that they just kind of don't even know where to start, right?
So we just have written down here, maybe just write down some words that like describe you, just so that you know, like, hey, you know, because sometimes like we can think differently about ourselves, you know, than how other people might view us. We kind of be a little bit hard on ourselves. So even like ask some friends, like, hey, you know, just like in a couple words, like, how would you describe me? You know, because like the way I would describe myself is probably something different than like Scott would describe myself, or someone, you know, like closer to me. So just maybe have them write down some things, and so that you can go back, and so that's going to be an encouragement. Like, oh my word, like you're so outgoing. Oh, you're, you know, you're really good with that. You're really good with that, or whatever. And so it's like when you kind of feel discouraged, you can look back and like you can read the things that people think good about you.
Yeah, and it kind of helps you like define your style too. Like, you know, that's one of the things like Olive Drew, we were super intentional, like starting out, just we're gonna have a really defined style, like very curated, and we're not just gonna buy whatever, you know, we see or whatever we like, but we're gonna really curate it. And I think an influencer should do that with their style as well. Those are like the good ones where you know that, okay, this person, they're known for really just like simple chic styles. This other person, they're known for like colorful, bright, and you kind of, when you're known for a certain style, then if you throw something else in the mix, it's going to be kind of weird. So really like curate and kind of start out with getting some descriptive terms about yourself, about how you want to be known, about what you want to share and see. So one question that popped up is, how can I see the first video? Good question. It's gone from our Instagram story, even though we left it up for 24 hours. But we will be putting it in Instagram TV and YouTube and Facebook. So later on, those will be going on. But right now, this is the only place to see it. So don't miss them, and tell your friends.
Yeah. So how do you start? You just start.
Yeah, like, right? How simple is that?
You just start, and sometimes it's going to be slow. Sometimes you think like, oh man, this isn't really going as fast as I would like it to. But that's like with really anything in life. It's like, it's a process. It's something, you know, that you start out doing, and then as time goes on, it continues to grow, just like a business, just like relationships, really anything in life. It's a process. So don't just get discouraged, but you just start. And
just start.
You know, it could be just like everyday things that you want to share about yourself, about your life. People are really into people. You know, they really like to know and to get into people's, you know, lives and see how, you know, just the interesting things about that particular family or about yourself. So, you know, just when you're hanging out, when you're doing whatever, just like snap a photo and like just start.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Instagram really is becoming like the modern day reality TV. So, you know, people are sharing their life, people are interested, you know, and everybody has some kind of a story, whether you just work a 9-to-5 job and, you know, you feel like you don't have much to offer. I'm sure there's moments throughout your week, throughout your month, throughout your year that you could capitalize on to share that people would be like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, look at them. They did this. Isn't that amazing? You know, there's going to be something that you could share.
But once you start, just be consistent once you start.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is just start. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the practical of that, of what it looks like. Do I start a new account? Do I start, you know, private, public? We'll talk about that in a second. But these are just some things. We're going to start out with a few things to kind of get in your bag of tricks for planning. So first one is just start. Second one is what? Be consistent.
Be consistent, yeah. And then, you know, you can save up to buy like a decent camera, but like if you have an iPhones take really, really good photos. So if you don't have, you know, like a, you know, real camera or whatever, iPhones these days take just as good as photos as like a professional camera.
Not just as good, but yeah, I'm a photographer, so I gotta give it
in my eyes, like it's just as good.
No, they're amazing though. Yeah. And you can do so much with like a good iPhone. And so I tell people, like, don't let what you have hold you back. You know what I mean? Don't let, well, I need to buy this camera and I need to buy this lighting and this backdrop and I need to go to this place. Like, no. Like, use what you have, but make it the best. You know what I mean? So if you have like a cheap old SLR camera, make it the best. Like, learn how lighting works. Watch some YouTube videos. And if anybody wants to send us like suggested videos like that you've watched that have helped you, we'll post those and share those with our audience too.
That's so true, right? Don't let what you have hold you back.
Exactly.
Just go for it.
So if this is your only tool to take pictures, like, be the best iPhone photographer ever.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, let this really, really become something like your tool, and you know it, and you know how to do the settings, and you know which apps and perfect all that stuff. So don't let that stuff hold you back, because I think it gets in your head, well, they have 100,000 followers, and it's because they have this camera.
But sometimes if you scroll, like just keep scrolling, like all the way down to like maybe their first post.
Do 20 swipes down. Yeah.
You'll be like, whoa, their page has like so changed since like the first time they started. So like I said, you know, in the beginning, it's like a process. So don't get yourself discouraged over, you know, just starting out and it not being what you want it to be 100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you can invest in a decent camera over time, save your money here and there.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll give you guys a great camera recommendation at the end. We'll post it to our stories. We just bought, well, actually she bought, but I went and picked it up. Eden, she's been wanting a camera, our daughter. She's been wanting a camera, so she got a camera. I went and picked it up for her today. She's been saving her money up. She got some 8th grade graduation money and all that stuff. So just start. Go take your first photo today or tomorrow or Sunday. But just get out there, find some good light. Just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't get the like perfection block of like, oh, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. Just start and then be consistent.
One of the questions that we had was like, you know, do you tell people like, hey, I'm starting to like post more? Like, no, just I would just say just start doing it, and I mean they'll figure that out eventually that you're you're posting more and you're doing a little bit more on your page. But
what was the Chanel had a quote, and I think it was like, or Audrey Hepburn or somebody, and it said like, if you have to tell somebody that you're a lady, you're probably not. Oh. So like, if you have to tell somebody you're something, oh, I'm an influencer now. Like, you don't have to do that, and like, no offense, but you don't have to be like, oh, I'm this now. Like, just let your actions speak louder than your words. So post consistently. Those are the people that we use. Like, you can see some of the influencers that we use, and we'll talk about some of them. We may even have some guest posts from some of them. It's kind of
I think we have a couple lined up already, and so we're really excited about that. So they're gonna share with you just some like tips and things that they've learned along the way, or maybe how they first started. Just a little bit of background of like where they came from. So I'm actually excited to hear about that too. So we picked like 2 or 3 that's going to share at the end of our series. So I think we have part 3, and then at the end of part 3, we're going to have little video clips of them speaking to you on what successes they've had.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. I think we missed right here. Learn some editing apps.
Yeah, definitely. We could put some of those in the stories too over the next few weeks.
Yeah, we could put some on there. Some of the ones that we use. It just kind of gives you more of a consistent look on your page. Yeah. You want to kind of have things like consistently, whether what filters you use, or if you want to use like a editing app. So we'll put those. We'll share those on our stories.
Yeah, if you want to spruce up your stories and give them like backdrops and all that stuff, we'll show some stuff. I may even post some tutorials on our YouTube. So one of the things. So start, be consistent. That's huge. And then another question we had was, should we do a private or a public account? And this was kind of one that we've talked about in the past. Like, there's been influencers that we want, maybe they didn't have a huge following, but they had a few, and we were like, oh, I'd love to send them something, but they had a private account. And if you're really wanting to make an influence, and I know there's pros and cons of both, but if you're really wanting to be an influencer, if you're really wanting to do something like that, then I would suggest going with a public account. I think you pretty much have to have a public account. Agreed? Mm-hmm. So what are some pros and cons?
When you have a public account, if you post something, if you're using hashtags or whatever, if people are looking for a certain, hashtag, or if like they put like modest clothing, if you use a hashtag like modest clothing and then they click on that, you're going to come up like in their Explorer section.
Right.
So if you're private, then they're not going to really see that. And so there's going to be very fewer people that are going to be able to find you.
Totally.
So when you're public, it just helps kind of bring things up more on the search page.
Yeah.
So
and also when you get to the point, and next week, I think Tuesday we're shooting for the final video of the series. Next week, we're going to talk about like, okay, when can I start charging? When do I get free clothes? Like, how do I get free clothes? How do people send me stuff? We're going to talk about that next week. But when you get to that point, like there's going to be companies like us, and we're just a small, mom and pop shop. Mom, pop, get it? But like, we probably wouldn't send stuff to people. I don't think we ever have send clothes to people with a private account for that reason. Because you're not really searchable. The cons or the negative parts of it are like, maybe, you might get some creeper on there that's like trying to slide into your DMs with some, talk or what. You never know. But
with the DMs, you don't have to allow it when you don't follow somebody.
And you can block people. Yeah.
I mean, so, you could just, use your good judgment on that. But for the most part, I mean, we've never really had like really creepers on our Olive Drew page, but maybe because it's like a clothing theme, might be different when you're just a normal person posting about your life.
Yeah, so we definitely say public account. Okay, so hopefully that answers some questions. The second big question was, do you start a brand new account? Like, maybe somebody has 500 followers already. I mean, is it wise to start a brand new account for their influencer or just be themselves? What do you think?
I just say be yourself and start doing now what you want to do, even on the same page, because you already have all those followers. So just once you start engaging more, posting more, sharing more stories, you're going to start having more engagement from the people that already follow you. So it's just kind of like a little boost already that you have.
Totally.
So
totally.
I would just say start on your page that you already have.
Yeah, that's good. That's good wisdom. And then another one was asking about hashtags. So hashtags can kind of like be hit or miss, right? Like
I don't know if everybody understands the hashtags because... Okay,
let's go real basic. A hashtag is basically...
The reason why I say that is because I've seen people use hashtags and I'm like, that's not what you use a hashtag for. Like, you don't use hashtags for like inside jokes. Between like one another, like hashtag
I spilled water or something, and everyone's like, what?
Because it's hashtags are for people to search certain things. So like if you go to a conference, if you go to a big event, they're gonna say like use hashtag HYC 2018. And so when you go to HYC 2018, you can see everything anybody's ever posted about HYC 2018.
You click on that hashtag and then watch, boom, okay, it brings up everything that's been posted. I don't even know what's on there. I should be careful. But it brings up everything that was posted by that hashtag. And so people can find you via hashtags. So say you use the hashtag modest style, or you use the hashtag polka dot dress, right? Well, if somebody's looking for polka dot dress inspiration, then they'll click that, or they'll type that in search and search tags, and then hopefully your post will come up. And then guess what? You get followers, you get engagement, all that. So that's how you use hashtags. I would have a strategy. That's one of the things we've worked on at Olive Drew, is just having a strategy for the hashtags. We have like 3 different groups of them that we use regularly, and they all kind of focus around like our style and, you know, kind of modest clothing, modest blogger, hashtag modest blogger, hashtag modest dress, you know, different things like that. That are very specific. So find some specific hashtags for your niche industry. Maybe you're a singer. Well, hashtag singer-songwriter, hashtag vocalist, hashtag vocal lessons. You know, I mean, all those things that would be relevant for you. So I think that's kind of a good help in the hashtags. And then Instagram does have some rules. I think you can only use like 20 hashtags or something like that per post. And you don't want to just do all hashtags, you know, pick like 6 or 7, 8 or 9 that just really fit well and put those in there. So
the next thing is like, don't copy like somebody. You might follow somebody
Totally.
already that's like, you know, kind of a big influencer, and you're like, man, I want to be like her. Like, oh, you know, she's so
Yeah.
awesome, and you know, and things like that. And it's like, you don't want to copy. You just want to be original. You want to be yourself, because you can only be your best you. Like, you know, you have qualities and you have personality that God gave you for you. And it's you can't copy somebody. I mean, you can try, but really it's not a natural thing. And so at the end, it's just going to be kind of like a flop, because you're trying to be somebody you're not. So
Totally.
just whoever you are, you just like embrace that and be
Yeah.
like, hey, you know what? This is me. I may not, you know, have like that personality or that look, but I have my own style, and just be confident in that. And
be yourself. Everybody
Yeah,
else
just-
is taken. So
exactly. So
yeah,
just
and
be
this,
original.
this is the thing. Some people do copy and it works for a little while, but then they get exposed. You know, they're like, oh, I saw that other person. Oh, but they started first. You know, and that exposes you. So be an original, but be good. Always be working at it. I think if you look at being an influencer as something like, I'm just going to take a few photos and I'm going to get free clothes, or just send me all the free clothes and I'll post, like, that's really not how it works. Like, the ones that we use, and the ones that are connected to Olive Drew, and the ones that we even follow personally, they work really hard at it. Like, some of them work full-time jobs and they do it late at night and on the weekends. Some of them, like, it's their full-time job, but they work hard at it. So don't copy, be original, but be good. Like, learn how to take good photos, learn the hashtags, learn the system, learn networking and like helping other people, because it all comes back to you. So
and you know, use YouTube, because YouTube has a lot of
Totally.
knowledge on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
You can like search anything really on YouTube, and you can find like a wealth of knowledge on there. So you know,
Definitely.
just like do your research and be diligent at learning. Just keep
Yeah.
learning every day. You learn more. And that's really with anything in life, you know, like as Christians, we're learning more how to be like God. We're learning more about his word. As business owners, you know, we're learning out how to be better, how to make, you know, the shopping experience more better for our customers. And the same thing with when you want to present your life in a way that you want people to follow you and to embrace, you know, your life and your modesty in the way you live. It's like, it's a process. You're learning every day how to be better.
for sure.
So
For sure. And one thing that we were talking about earlier is like support one another. You
I
know,
think that's a
definitely
big
like
thing.
yeah, and this is like a small niche. This is a community, and like support one another, like other people's photos. Like, you know, it's so interesting. Like, I've seen other groups, especially like, you know, there's like a larger religious group of another group that's not us, but another group, and like I see them work. I mean, they just work together. They like support each other.
It's like
and sometimes
they know
I
who
don't
their
see that in other groups. And
it's like they know who their people are, and they're going to
Yeah.
support their people, because, you know, of course we want our people and the people that are in our religious circle to succeed, you know. And so it's like being there, encouraging, sending a DM, hey, like, oh my God, I love that story, or I love that post, posting on the pictures, you know, liking photos, you know, because that helps that person get their content out there. And the more you like other people's photos, the more people are going to start liking your photos. They're going to see like, man, she's really like, you know, she's really nice. Like she's like liking my photos and she really like wants me to be successful, because I feel like a lot of times we just may not be as supportive of one another as we should be. And I think we can do a lot better than that, especially when I see different religious movements like really beat us in that area. Like a lot.
So whatever niche you're in or movement, whatever, however you want to put it, like really just like support one another. I'm not saying like just support blindly. If somebody's being like fake or they're being over the top, and I know there's a certain extent of that, but if somebody's just being like, oh, whoa, that's not modesty, you know, like, then you don't have
only in dress.
Exactly. You don't have to support everybody, but the ones that are doing it right, the ones that are really like, you know, trying to make an impact and help others, support that, rally around that. So we're gonna close it up with a few people.
A few people. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. A few people that we love and that we follow and that we think are amazing that you can maybe follow.
So don't copy them, but learn from them, because they're doing a great job, and they just put themselves out there in a great way. #truth. Yes. So
don't
get the preacher started.
And these are just like a couple, and you know, there's a whole lot of girls out there. These are just maybe ones that stick out in our mind a little bit, but you might already follow them, and if you don't, go follow them and see the amazing things that they're doing, and just use that kind of like as a guide, right?
First one, we're a little partial because we kind of like grew up with their family, and then she models for Olive Drew, so we're a little partial, you know?
Yeah, so Mariah Brienne, if you search her on Instagram, you'll find her, and she's a very sweet girl, and she dresses very nice, and she shows us how we can style something in a way that looks good.
So, she's got great style sense. So that's number one. Second one,
Veronica's look. She's amazing, and if you haven't followed her, she actually just released a style of her own. So she's actually making her own styles of clothing, and she just released her first dress. So go over there and check her out if you haven't already done so.
She's great. Creative photos, like just cool stuff. And then she's just one of the best. Yeah, and she launched her own shop, so that's cool. So go support her. Definitely pick up something from there. So, and then the next one,
it's Courtney Tolliver. She's a popular one, but I love her style. She's very simple. So like Mariah, she has her own style. She seems to be very dressy. She likes to style things very dressy. You know, she'll usually have heels on. That's just Mariah. Like, that's her look. That's what she likes. Veronica.
Remember we talked about being consistent?
Be consistent. Yeah. Veronica, she has a mix of both. I mean, you'll see her wear a pair of tennis shoes with something and a jean skirt, but then she'll like try to, dress it up in a way that's a little more dressy. So
she's from LA. She's got that like city but kind of dressy vibe, like that's super authentic to who she is. So that's cool.
So they each have their own unique thing and their own unique style that they're doing.
Yeah.
And then Courtney, like I said, she is very like simple. She likes very like simple clothing. She's just very like down to earth, kind of like simple. So you won't really see her really super dressed up. I haven't really seen that on her page very much. So she has a unique look all on her own, all in itself too. And
she shares a lot of like behind the scenes stories.
Yeah, like they're redoing their house right now,
just cool
and things
stuff,
like that.
real
So
everyday
you can follow
stuff
along with her just like in her personal life, so which is cool too.
And so like also be checking out, like look at their Instagram feed. Look at the aesthetic of it. It's very consistent. You don't see like one just total clunker photo in there, right? Have you ever been to a really nice restaurant and like you drive up like us in our little Prius or something, right? And you're like, that car doesn't fit in there, right? That's what you don't want your Instagram feed to be. You want it to be consistent.
So if you go look at mine, you don't want it to be like mine.
She's working on it. She's definitely working on it.
Yeah, I'm not really the best on that.
And then one simply for her aesthetic is Soul Sister, SOEL, and then Sister. She just has a really clean aesthetic, and I was just like, that is like some real consistency in there.
And she shares a lot of life things too that are really positive and encouraging. So she has her own little thing too that she likes to do.
So we're totally over time. Sorry, guys. But a bunch of you stayed in here, and that's cool. So let's just wrap it up with this. What are the biggest differences in the people that are like really doing well, the people that you want to collaborate with? What are the biggest differences?
Just like their consistency. I really find that, is an important thing, their consistency. And then just always improving, like they're always coming up, like getting up there, So I think that just keep that in mind, consistency and always improving, and then being real. You want to be real. You don't want people to ever think that you're fake. You want it to be genuine.
Yeah.
So, and just share real life. Like whatever you do throughout the day, whatever you do throughout your week, just share that. And people are going to like love that.
Be yourself, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself, right?
Yeah. And then just engage. Like when someone comments on your photo, like comment back, when somebody sends you a DM, make sure you're like DMing them back.
Totally.
Because that just helps your algorithms go up and for people to see your stuff. And, if you're really like going to strive and try to do this, that's really important to you. So just consistency, always improving, be yourself, be genuine, and engage in your followers.
All right.
So does anybody have any questions before we go?
Yeah, Q&A.
I know it kind of like took a long. I mean, you could ask anything about anything, and we'll try to answer that for you. And like we said in our last video, we're not experts, and we don't even claim to know really everything. We just know, since we've been doing this business, Olive Drew, we've just kind of been in connect with a lot of these influencers, and so I think people have a tendency to not step out because of fear or not being good enough. But we want to just encourage you that if you do feel that you would like to do this, or it's something that you would enjoy doing, just like start. So
yeah, and we thought it would be like kind of a little more authentic coming from us, since we're not really influencers. We're a company that works with influencers. We thought it'd be a little more authentic to just be like, hey, let's help some people out, So
true.
I don't see any questions coming in, so we'll try and get to them in the DMs. You can always DM us. And then next, we're going to come back, and that's going to be the final video. Okay, when do I actually start charging? How do I get Cheryl to start sending me dresses, right? How do I get free product? Do I start charging right away? Do I get free product right away? And the answer is no and yes and no and yes, and we'll figure it all out next Tuesday. It's different for everybody, but it's going to be fun. So lots of great info. Thanks. Yes.
You're welcome.
Glad to hear
Amber.
that. Glad to hear that.
Yeah,
all right, you guys, signing off. Have a great
right.
weekend. Go shop. Lots of new arrivals coming, but there's a lot of good stuff in there, huh?
Yeah, go check it out. There's a lot of like summer things that are on sale. So if you want a good deal, there's some things still left. Not in all sizes, but there are some left. Always, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. We couldn't do Olive Drew without you, and we're so thankful for all of our customers. You guys are always so sweet and always encouraging.